Folks, welcome into another episode of Hot Topics with PubSportsRadio.com. We let you, the people, vote on it. You know what they came up with today, Jeff? They want to talk a little Tua.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I've been knee-deep in draft stuff, so I'm looking forward to talking about it. Hopefully we can talk more draft stuff as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, which will be soon here.
Yeah, you know what's going to be interesting, Jeff? Because, look, we don't pull any punches. We are Eagles fans, but we also are, looking around the NFL to try to find value to see what works best. And it's no surprise. Jeff and I talk all the time, specifically NFL, other sports. It doesn't matter. I got to tell you here, when we're talking Tua and should the Redskins take Tua, just to keep it simple right off the top, Jeff, I think they should. I do.
Yeah, I'm not as in agreement. Listen, my whole thing here is more of who I think they should go with as opposed to what I think they're going to do. I think it's pretty clear at this point if, again, I'm sure you know this as well. They like Dwayne Haskins. And I think it's pretty clear that they didn't go out and add that, veteran quarterback like Cam Newton or someone like that, because I do think they want to develop Haskins. And, look, Donnie, you look all of a sudden at this depth chart for the Washington Redskins. This is a pretty formidable defense. I mean, you had a guy like Chase Young, who is one of the best pass rushers we've seen and one of the best defensive linemen we've seen as far as from an outside position in a long time. I mean, this is a really good football player that could come in and really be the next high-level player on the defensive line in the NFL. They all of a sudden have a really solid defense that I think for a long time could be pretty good. I think they like Dwayne Haskins. They added Kyle Allen recently. I think Ron Rivera has a plan, and it seems like that has a lot to do with Dwayne Haskins. Look, I think Dwayne Haskins, we really didn't see a ton from him, but again, I mean, we also didn't see a lot from him either as far as the ability and taking snaps. So we'll see as far as what we get out of him. But I think longer term, we need a little bit more time to figure out what he is. As far as Tua, I think the Miami Dolphins are a match made in heaven. You look at the first 5 picks and, really outside of the Bengals and Washington, I really don't see anyone else taking a quarterback. So you have to figure that once Joe Burrow's off the board, the Miami Dolphins make perfect sense for Tua Tagovailoa. I've said before, I think he's the most talented quarterback in this draft. I know Burrow obviously had a great senior season, but I mean, Tua Tagovailoa is really talented. He fits the new NFL perfectly. I think Miami, they're a team on the rise. That is a really interesting pickup if they can get him. But to answer your question, no, I think they will take Chase Young.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because if you're asking me, you don't go anywhere in the professional sports, especially the NFL, without having a superstar caliber quarterback. And to me, Dwayne Haskins isn't that. Is he going to be a nice, serviceable quarterback? Maybe. I mean, what have we really gotten out of Ohio State quarterbacks over the years with their, clap offense and not reading defenses and, having the best wide receivers so everybody's wide open? We'll see how it's going to translate. But also, let's keep in mind, you're talking about a regime that was already in place that drafted Dwayne Haskins. Now a new regime comes in. We all know, like, hey, this isn't my guy. I didn't draft him, so I'll be, I'll throw the baby out with the bathwater and get a new quarterback. But when you keep that same thing, Rivera's coming over from Carolina. He had an extremely athletic quarterback. Now you come in and see Dwayne Haskins, who's not really that athletic. I would look again. I preface this by saying I hope the Redskins don't draft Tua. I hope they don't.
Yeah, and again, I don't think you have to worry. I don't think they're going to. I think we also have to remember, like, there are some playmakers on this team. I mean, keep in mind, Darius Geis only had 42 carries last year before an injury. I mean, Terry McLaurin had a terrific season. I mean, some of these young guys, I mean, the draft's going to be important for them. They got to go out and find some more playmakers. I think this defense is set. I think if they can get Chase Young, I think they're really a solid football team. They just obviously have to see the development of Haskins. And look, if the Haskins stuff doesn't work and they're bad again, then next year you can go look towards a quarterback at that point. But I think for them, they have to shore this defense up, and I think they can do that. I think what they have now is good enough, and we'll see where it goes. And at the end of the day, Donnie, if Haskins, let's say in the 8th game of the season, isn't working out, Kyle Allen showed that he can do it. I think at that point, you got to see what you have here with that. So I think it's too early to make the distinction and say that if he's not going to be a good quarterback. I don't think you have to worry too much. I don't think he's going to Washington.
It's going to be fascinating to watch because obviously there's a lot of moving parts still to come in here. You have some big-name free agent quarterbacks that are shaking loose. There's still a few weeks away from the NFL draft, and we'll see how that goes off because you're right. it's hard to say because you're in the number 2 spot, Jeff, right? And maybe you need a quarterback, maybe you don't. But the one thing I think that's going to get intertwined in this is you're missing out. Like, I think we can agree, drafting an Ohio State pass rusher works out really good, especially over the past couple of years in the NFL. You're getting a guy that can you probably see, Jeff, within year 3 is a double-digit sack guy or maybe even sooner. That's a sure thing you have at number 2, whereas let's just say you go with Tua and maybe he doesn't work out. Maybe his hip is degenerative and has arthritis in it in his career and he can't run around as well because it's hard to pass up a guy it's plug and play, man. Go out, get the quarterback. I know you're talented.
Yeah, and look, I mean, as I said, you're adding him to a group that already is pretty good. I mean, you got Daron Payne and Ian Needus and all those guys in that front line there. Yeah, look, I think a lot of people with draft stuff, like they become too enamored with like, well, he had one bad game against better competition, so all of a sudden he's not good. I actually heard that about Jeff Okudah, who I think is the best cornerback in the last 5 years in the draft. I think he's absolutely unbelievable, and I think the Detroit Lions would be nuts to pass him up at 3. But yeah, I've heard you'll hear that about Young too. Well, in 1 or 2 games he didn't play particularly well, and he will get double teamed. But that's the NFL. You have to find ways, and I think for them they are going to get a player, as you said, that could come right in. You don't have to watch him, sit behind somebody. He's going to come in and contribute right away. But for a team like Washington, they're going to be a group that. They only have 1 pick, Donnie, basically in the first 2 rounds. I mean, they don't have a lot, and that's concerning. They're going to have to be successful in the 3rd and 4th round. And I know that sounds crazy, but they're going to have to find guys that could come in, and they have to hit on people, because they don't have really much here. I mean, they have to obviously get rid of that 34th pick. When I forget the deal it was involved with, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this draft. I can honestly say, Donnie, and I know we hear this a lot, but I think it's the most talent-rich draft we've seen in a long time. There is talent up and down at every position. It's going to make for a great draft.
Oh, you bring up a good point there. Obviously, only having that 1 draft pick there up early. Let's not keep in mind also they offered Amari Cooper more money than the Dallas Cowboys did. He just turned him down and went back. So they're always opportunistic, even though you don't like their owner. He does have some deep pockets, and we'll see how that turns out. This has been your episode today, Jeff, from PubSportsRadio.com. The hot topic of the day, as we know, we let you vote on it. We'll come to you Monday through Friday, day to day, to keep the content moving.
Well, Donnie,
so we get some sports back on the field.
I got to say, I have a feeling tomorrow we should let me choose the topic because I got a good one that I think people are going to like, and I think it's going to move some needles. So maybe we'll throw that in. Maybe I'll even tell Donnie.
Will it be college basketball?
No.
Okay, guys.
No, it's the NFL. NFL.
There we go. Stay tuned tomorrow. Nice little teaser by Jeff to throw in there. But tune in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Me and Jeff will be back tomorrow, and I'll be impressed when I see some of these polls coming out tomorrow on what we actually choose. Thanks for tuning in. For me, for Jeff, it is PubSportsRadio.com. Thanks for tuning in.